Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the M365 FM podcast. I'm your host, Mirko Peters, and today we are diving into one of the hottest topics in the Microsoft ecosystem, enterprise AI. Over the last 2 years, we all been talking about ChatGPT, Copilot, and generative AI. But building AI that actually creates business value inside an organization require much more than great prompts. Today's guest understands exactly what happened behind the scene. Joining me is Shupagi Goyal, Microsoft MVP, international recognized speaker, senior data and AI professional, and someone who has spent more than a decade helping organizations to turn data into intelligent decision making. We'll explore Microsoft AI Foundry, Azure OpenAI, data science, responsible AI, enterprise adoption, the future of intelligent agent, and why good AI always starts with a good data. Yeah, Shupagi, welcome to the MC65 FM. It's fantastic to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be here. And I'm looking forward to, sharing all the insights that I have in this area. And yeah, of course, like AI has really, I would say, full blown now in the past few years. And yeah, we are seeing literally being a part of like everything we could potentially imagine.
Yeah. First thing, I congrats you to your Renew and MVP award. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about you, how you get into the data
Mm.
world, data science world, and especially how you changed to AI and why Microsoft?
Yeah, actually, that's quite interesting. So I think around 10 years ago, I would say at least more like 13 actually. So I pursued computer science engineering, and that was my first degree. And when I graduated from my course, I at the time, like for example, data science was like one of the most, I would say, booming career arena. And when I joined my first job, which was back in India, I basically had the opportunity to work on some of the projects which really sparked my interest in that area, and it led me to basically work on some of the projects there which were mostly around like building machine learning models and like analyzing data and seeing how predictive modeling works. So that's how I ventured into the world of data, and it became something which is like I really enjoy working with. I can see like how if you use effectively that as a part of your like as a business, how it can create impact and how you can find opportunities. And then like about 7 years ago, I moved to the UK and I graduated from University of Bath. I pursued my master's there. So I sort of moved from, I would say, Asia to Europe in a way. And then my first job, I worked for an AI startup. And they are basically from data science. I entered into the arena of AI, and the rest is, as I said, like is history. And I think one of the interesting parts of working in that job was like I learned a lot more about like AI, what AI really means. And I think when I joined that role, I thought that like this is something which is going to happen in maybe some years of time, but actually happened a lot before. And I was working on some of the projects there which were already in the space, like for example for example voice agents or like building web chat agents and so on. And then when AI came, it actually expanded that a lot more, and I just ended up like where I am. And yeah, like I have basically worked a lot of Microsoft tech in the Microsoft ecosystem, and also with Microsoft as like the customer in my first job. So it's like a lot of, I would say, like using the ecosystem entirely, working on Azure, for example, or even using data platform tooling, and also like working now on Foundry. So yeah, this is how basically my journey began. I think it was more like, it's just, I wouldn't say it like I ventured into AI. It's just like, happened along the way. And like, I enjoyed it so much that I just thought, this is like something I would want to be a part of and remain a part of for as long as I want to be. So yeah, this is how it ended up.
Yeah. You say you have started at a startup, and now you are in the enterprise world. How different is working in these both worlds?
So obviously, like if we talk about working in like big corporates or enterprise world versus working in startups, the working style is quite different. Startups are definitely higher paced and like faster paced, no matter where you work. And enterprise are like more sort of like they move, but like you have to be like they have to be like super like careful with the fact that when we are moving, we're making changes, how does it impact like the entire organization. And then like when you work on startups also, you can have like access to a lot more, I would say, cutting edge technologies, which I still have. But I think startups, because they can move faster, they can experiment a lot faster. That's what I can say, at least. In like bigger corporates, like you will have to make sure that, for example, even if you're performing a migration, then like how does that migration impact the entire, for example, structure of a project that you have built, how it will change, and then what's the ultimate goal we are trying to check. So I would say enterprise AI has, in a way, if I see it, like evolved a lot more, in the sense like you can see that previously people were experimenting with it, but now it has reached a stage of maturity where organizations actively want to derive value from it. um and having said that, I know that there has been a lot of, discussion going on, that a lot of people don't see benefits and so on. But I think it starts with recognizing the right use case of where you can implement AI. Like, are you trying to aim that, okay, I have this product I'm going to create or build with AI, but I'm expecting, for example, this ROI on this, or I'm expecting that, for example, the effort or the process I'm currently using, it can be optimized or can be made better. So I think thinking about enterprise AI starts with that mindset that, okay, this is the use case, and also being slightly realistic about it, that at the end of the day, like, do we have enough resources, time, and right people, and the right platform to build it? Because the robust design is really important when you build the systems. It's not just about having a large language model. It's also about having a robust design that actually caters to the need of, like, whatever your goal is with that AI application that you are trying to build.
Yeah, I say every company or everyone everyone wants AI today.
Yeah.
But how important is the data quality, or stay with the data before I buy tools or edit?
So data quality is definitely a very big part of it. So today you design, like, for example, you build an AI agent, or you go into the world of agentic AI, right? It still operates on some sort of data, enterprise data, customer data, whatever your organizational data is. It's not happening just that you can take some large language model, plug it into your application, build like a front end and so on. It wouldn't work that way. And a lot of times, like, the data is not structured, or it is not like the quality is not taken care of in a way that AI needs, because it has hallucinates, and there are times you might not get relevant outcomes or the right processes. And so it's super important to make sure that, which people right now call as sort of context engineering, like, that's, I think, I would say it's a little bit like overlap there. So you have to make sure that the right context is provided to your AI application in the first place, to make it like useful and also reliable for the user. So today you are building an application that serves different arena of customers. Maybe like they're students, they could be like people who are in mid age, or maybe like older population. That you have to make sure that it is able to cater to this wider set of audience, and is actually user friendly. I would say, like, user experience is great, and then also, like, they can trust it in the first place, and that's where responsible AI ventures into the picture. And for most part, if you are a B2B company, right, like, the other business is going to purchase your product because they want to also understand how you have built the product firstly. Then I think they would also want to know, like, how your AI has ended up like making some decisions, which I think is called sort of like an explainable AI. Like, so if you can't explain how it has worked, I don't think they would be able to trust it entirely. So it's super important, these small aspects while building it. And then data quality is another key area. So, for example, if I'm asking similar set of questions every single time or testing it, right? Would it give me similar outcomes? Will it change? And then how much would that change be? And me as a customer, am I happy to have that change? I think those are some nuances which you can only know when you test it enough, but even like after building it. So I would say there's like a whole lot of process involved to ensure data quality is at the right point.
Mhm. And when we have data quality, what other things a company needs to be a or achieve AI readiness?
So AI readiness, I would say, is a very broad term, and like there's so many things that fall under AI readiness. Like, see, there are things, for example, one side is like you are building things because you want to, like, make sure that your company is like, or organization is like, using AI effectively. Then there's a second side where you also wanted employees to use it, which is like people call AI adoption, sort of. And everybody is up to speed. They know, for example, whatever the latest tool is in market. So let's say if you're using Copilot, you should know how to use Copilot, for example, or at least write great prompts. Because sometimes you might have heard, actually, like people say, oh, like I gave this prompt, this is not the outcome I expected from it. And couple of sessions I think I've been on, like I asked a lot of people, like out of curiosity, how many people, how many of them can say they write great prompts. And it's quite hilarious because every time I see one or two people just raising hands. So like even today, because it's like 3 4 years now, like you would expect like people know this. But now what happens is like a lot of people when they talk about AI readiness, they don't talk about just building, they also talk about how the company as a whole is moving. Is everyone having access to the latest tools, how those tools are being used, how can you like make the productivity sort of better. So you might have heard about token maxing is like one of the things which have been happening. I think I read some articles around it, like that people are trying to use that and make sure they're using maximum amount of tokens to show productivity. So there are a lot of yeah, a lot of things happening. And so when we talk about AI readiness, like firstly, it's if you're thinking from builder's lens, you should be able to ensure you use the right language model. You have like a right use case for it. What is the goal you are trying to achieve with that use case? The right tool that fits into your stack. And then obviously like good quality data that you can feed back into it. And it doesn't have to be a knowledge base. It could be some historical data. It could be some instructions or testing data, like whatever you can leverage essentially. And the second part of readiness is like making sure everybody in your organization has access to that tools, and no matter where they are in their career journey, they're able to use that effectively for their jobs. And because anything which is repeated can be automated. So if that thought process is there, you can save more time to do those tasks which require like a lot more effort. Because I know a lot of things I've been a part of, there's always some technical debt. And like there's always a thing, oh, we have to do these things, but we can't do this because we have to prioritize these X items first. So maybe like that's one arena like people can think about when they think about AI readiness. Okay, this work is something we can probably automate with AI, and let's see if it can do the job for you.
Yeah. Would you say AI can compensate poor data?
When you say compensate for data, do you mean like if we use AI for like analyzing or checking anything, that it's okay?
Yeah, or make the data better. I think a little bit about the Copilot in Fabric, so it can bring the date formats in a, I don't know, let's make sentence. That's something like this. But did you see AI also can help here, or is it really human manual work to get good
So
data
so I think
quality?
with data quality, I think like I would say like it can help you explore the avenues.
Mm.
But I still I feel like I know a lot of platforms offer some like facilities now in which they can assist you. But I think you will still have to do some, I would say at least a part of the work to make sure that the data quality is up to the level you would need it to be. So I think it's gonna be more like collaboration. It wouldn't be just one thing or the other. But yeah, if you use it in the right way, it can assist you. But I think I would see it as like a human AI collaboration rather than, hey, can AI do it? Can human do it? Sort of. And if they go hand in hand together, then there's a higher chance of making things um, useful, especially in the space of data quality, I would say. So I don't think it's just gonna be one or the other. I think it can help you identify a lot of avenues. It's more like a collaboration between the two things.
Mm. Um, I think I don't know. Before I data analytics was the big thing. How did you think the analytics part has changed from these times before pre AI area and I say AI first world now?
So, I think it's a very good question because data analytics is obviously like it's data teams, especially for analytics, they sit with the business and their job is to support the business. And a lot of job actually involves, building reports, analyzing large data sets, maybe like writing SQL queries to fetch data from whichever platform you're using. Now, when we talk about implementing AI, it's like people are moving towards conversational AI, where they want AI assisted analytics. So essentially, what I've seen is like you still use you will still use the same data set, but then like AI would be sort of like your assistant, and that would facilitate the outcome for you. Now, when we talk about, let's say, building dashboards, right? It can assist you, for example, hey, I want to write DAX expression, and maybe like somebody is not super pro in this or something, so they can use AI to get some support. For example, like, they can use some ideas for designing visualization, or like, so it's more of like, you can build it, but it will assist you in a larger scheme of things. But then like there's another side of it, like for example, you want to analyze data and you can build an AI agent, but then for that you will need the data that you will still use for analysis, and then you will have to verify that as well, unless you have automated checks that can do that for you. So today, let's say you're on an A/B testing or a campaign data, and you built an AI agent for like giving sort of recommendations, or I would say build a report for yourself, which you have to present somewhere. Now, okay, it ran, it did the entire thing, but then still you will have to check, right? Like what's happening, unless you have built some automated tests. Because I think what the larger part of whole process is like, you cannot be sure unless there's some sort of validation checkpoint available that the outcome is right. So I see conversational analytics as one area which is definitely a lot in discussion, and some people are actively working on it. And then obviously, like dashboard building has become, like, you can see a lot of people using AI in conjunction with dashboards to, like, build them faster. And I think like there are obviously other arenas as well, which I know that I know, and I have been part of some where like people are actually thinking that maybe AI can do a lot more of analytic work, because it can. But I think, like, for example, designing wireframing. So I know a lot of people use now Claude Design, for example, because it can do that for you. And previously, a lot of people were using different other tools to build wireframes. So it recreates a lot of things quite quickly. Um, and you can, for example, see them in a matter of, I would say, seconds, or maybe less than a minute. Or so yeah, like there are arenas. You have to identify which arena you want to use it for. And like, maybe brainstorming is funny arena, like when you are designing dashboards. So conversation analytics is definitely one thing which I think is a lot of people are actively working on to ensure that AI can support them, and speed up the process of analyzing data.
Yeah. Um, I think since I don't know 20 years, a lot of people say Excel is dead. It's looks like it's still existing in a lot of companies, but where it's really getting still, I found it's what's happened with Power BI. It was so hyped, and now nearly no one writes about Power BI.
I mean, I think Excel is still, I mean, I'm still using Excel, so in part, so I wouldn't say it's gone. So I think like it's different perspectives. I would say like I mean, like Power BI is a great tool, and I've used myself like a lot of times in the past. And like uh I don't know, like, what other people's opinion are, but I think, like, with the capability that Copilot provides, you can create, like, great things on Power BI. Like, I've seen so many examples on, socials and LinkedIn and so on. People publish the reports. Um, and I think, like, with obviously with Copilot becoming more, more and more, like, it keep on developing and keep on becoming a bigger product. I think it will probably go very well along with like how Power BI will become like a bigger product probably from where it is now. So I think it's like one of those arenas. I think people have different opinions on this. So I think like I personally feel like both of those products are like I've used them quite a lot, and I still use both of them. So yeah.
Yeah, you're also an expert in the AI, Microsoft AI Foundry, Azure AI Foundry, Azure Foundry. I don't know what name we should choose. I think everyone say use another name. What is it exactly?
So Microsoft Foundry, yeah, it was renamed. I think it was previously Azure AI Foundry. So Microsoft Foundry is sort of like your enterprise AI platform. So if you're a developer, AI engineer, or data scientist, you can use it to build like enterprise scale applications. So it offers a lot of capabilities. Like, for example, the tool has a model catalog, so you can see all the different models it offers, and then it provides sort of like breakdown by cost, throughput, benchmarking, and so on. So you will be able to see like which model is performing the best, or sort of like which is a top performing model. Then you can build agents, guardrails, memory, and you can also fine tune your models. You will definitely need like to deploy one of the models before you can use it. And then it also offers capabilities on like observability and tracing. So basically, it's an entire sort of package, I would say, which has a lot of stuff to offer. And I would say like I've used like it a lot, quite a lot. And it is obviously like new things have been added and like it's growing um like constantly. And I think like the product also, if you use it like if you like try to build it, you will be able to use it quite easily. Like it's very user friendly, like in the sense like you can like easily get up to speed to like build stuff and test out, and like new features are coming in every other day. So basically, if you're a developer, or even if you are like somebody who is exploring the arena, I would recommend you to give it a try, because it actually helps you to learn a lot more about like how AI can actually be implemented. And you can build your own agent, you can monitor your own agent, and you can also evaluate it. So you have like this entire thing in one place, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and how or where does Microsoft Fabric fit into the story?
So, basically, like when you have to create like a knowledge base, which is sort of like the data that you provide or information that you provide. So you can have Fabric IQ. So there's like Fabric IQ, there's Work IQ, and there's Foundry IQ. So these three are sort of like they can work in collaboration, sort of. And if you are using or building ontologies or semantic layer on Fabric, you can also use that in like conjunction with Foundry agents as well. So basically, like that's where like you can merge sort of those things together. So they are independent, but they can be collaborative. You can say that.
Mm, I think we have another tool, Copilot Studio. Where did you see the difference to AI Foundry over Copilot Studio?
Um, so like both of those tools are great, but I think with Foundry, like I have found this I feel I like I use it a lot, and I feel like with Copilot, I would say both of them are great, and both of them have sort of like parallel capabilities. But like using it, for example, building Foundry IQ for me personally has been really easy, and I would say really like useful. And because a lot of my like building those applications involves like using data effectively and like in a larger sense. So I think like, and also understanding those models, so it gives me a lot more capabilities to use those things.
Mm, Um, w- what did you think is AI Foundry also for small and mid-sized companies, or is it an enterprise product?
Um, like okay, one second, give me 1 second.
Eh,
Became so sorry. Um, so I think like Microsoft Foundry is obviously more enterprise AI, and it basically helps to ensure that it creates you or gives you all the capabilities that you would need. And like when we talk about like for example, when you build the Foundry IQ, you can also implement Azure AI search in the backend, or you can also implement, for example, things like Work IQ. And also like you can also create additional capabilities on that. So I think if you try building it, like see, there are two things: there is tools, and then there is sort of like your knowledge base. So the tools section, you can only upload files, so it's quick and faster. But if you're building enterprise agent, then you will need sort of like more solid knowledge base. And in those capabilities, it's sort of important to ensure that like you have a larger set of data, you can engineer the data effectively, and make sure that like that data can be used within your application effectively. So no matter you use, for example, one or the other, as long as you have like built the ontologies semantically effectively, that should be able to plug in into the main tool. So that essentially makes your job a lot more easier. But yeah, that is a process. Building that thing, you will have to know what your data is and what you want to feed versus what you don't want to feed.
mm, and what kind of models are available in AI Foundry?
I would say there's a lot. I think yesterday I saw there were probably over 180 or something models. So it has basically from Claude to Claude Opus, Claude Sonnet. It also has Fable, which basically came and go because of, well, all the known reasons. It has Grok, and then Mistral, and basically all the latest models, all the GPT models. It has 4.15, 40, everything basically. But I think like, see, the thing is like a lot of people think they have to use the latest model to build their applications, but I think it's super important to understand that you don't necessarily need all the time latest model if you're gonna fine tune it, or if you're gonna build, let's say, a RAG for it, right? So you have to make sure that what's the cost are you willing to pay for an application, and decide then which model you want to use to build it. And then the second thing you would want to also make sure is like what data will you use to fine tune it or build the RAG application. I think that's important. I know that some people are also saying RAG is dead because of like larger context windows available, but I think it's yeah, I mean, if unless you have a better approach, then yeah, you can debate about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people now, yeah, they're using AI found using AI, but we also have this Azure machine learning stuff and I don't know, vector search um, makes it sense, especially for enterprises, to look where I spend, I say, expensive tokens and where can I use other things like
Yeah.
vector search. Okay. Um, what did you think? How will the AI Foundry evolving over the next month?
Uh, I mean, it's constantly evolving. Like, obviously, I think new models will keep on coming, so that's gonna be always there for sure. So I think like that's one thing which is going to be there. Then I think memory management, because like your agents cannot work effectively. So I like that's something which probably will come along the way, because like that will really, I would say that that's really the game changer as well in a way, because if your AI does not remember anything about a previous conversation, then I think it would probably be one of those things like it resets every single time. So it is not adaptive sort of. So it requires to remember all those things that you were basically asking it previously. So let's say today you're working in public sector, you want to pay your council tax, and maybe like you are a person, and if your details are not provided, it cannot give you the right account details or how to you pay, for example, your tax, or do you want a refund for that tax. So it's super important to understand that um, that would be something which can actually really change it. I think it's a big part of also context engineering, which was very, I think the term came way back in 2023, 2024-ish start, I would say. But now it has just grown a lot, and like it has become a super important part. And I've also heard a lot about like harness engineering as well, which is like something which people are discussing right now. And I think like this is one of the arena which I think definitely is gonna grow as time goes by.
Hmm. And what role plays security and compliance inside the AI Foundry, or is it inside the AI Foundry?
So obviously you can build guardrails. So
Mm,
like I've seen people talking a lot about guardrails, but like a lot of people they not necessarily understand or know about what guardrails really mean. So guardrails basically protect and make sure that like your agent does not, like, it doesn't have any unintended behavior, right? That's like really the purpose of guardrail. And so by default, in Foundry, there are some guardrails inbuilt, but you can obviously create a new one. So, for example, like if your application does not require any specific kind of content or protected material or something like sensitive data, sort of. So it helps to ensure that, like, okay, this data, this particular application should not bypass these things. It should not, or we'll find a way to like tackle those things. Or for example, you have fed some like PII data, which I mean most people will not, but let's say hypothetically you did, then how will like manage it? So I think guardrails ensure that there is like those lanes that should be controlled, and that your application does not perform any unintended behavior. There is an option to also create red teaming. So you can like create a red team and sort of your stress test your agent in a way that you can create scenarios and test it when it's gonna break. One thing I always say is like, we should perform like people should perform as much as negative testing when they build this thing, simply because what it does for you is like any situation that you might think can happen, it should exactly behave in a way it should. Like it should not be saying, oh, this is yes, but actually the answer is no for it. So like it makes sure that you are actively trying to test it without waiting for somebody else to tell you. So imagine you build a product, right? You are a company and you go to a customer and they test it. And you find those flaws for you, then you they might not be convinced even if you fix those flaws effectively, because now in their mind they're like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna be like something I want to invest in. So it's a proactive attitude to also like check those things and test out as many scenarios to make sure that, okay, I've done this my due diligence on this thing. I know that these scenarios is gonna fail, this scenario is gonna work. So you already know all the pros and cons of your product. And then let's say you know how to rectify them eventually, because otherwise you will not identify them. So yeah, I think like this is one of the another interesting area where you have to practice like as a responsible AI, where
Mm,
like you're not just building something, but you're also building something which is effectively useful.
mm. Um, I think uh, we spend a lot of, I don't know, money in AI, in tokens, in building AI, um, also security and all the other costs. And often then comes the CFO and ask, yeah, what is the return of invest? Is there, or have you any tips how company can, yeah, elevate the ROE from AI investments?
That's a good question. I think this is like a lot of people are discussing about just now as but I'm sure like somebody would have already written a LinkedIn post on this as we speak. Um, I think, yeah, see, AI investments, everybody wants to use AI because they know that this is something which is gonna make like our jobs maybe like easier or like make us more productive and so on. When we talk about using AI, a lot of times people don't know where they want to use AI. Like which problem am I trying to solve with this AI as a tool available to me, like this large language model? Because like you are a company which has a big customer interaction agent center, something like that, and like probably your job is to make sure that the basic queries is supported by AI, and then like maybe the very very complicated and nuanced queries that users are asking, then maybe I will bring my agent in. Let's That's your case. Now you're trying to save the time per call, maybe. Like how do you how that's basically where you have to see where you can solve the problem, and how do you make sure that like AI is effectively useful, because it could be possible that one of those cases is not the right use case for where you want to implement AI. So I think it starts with identifying the right use case, first thing, and then understanding like what's my current cost that I'm paying for that same workflow or process versus what I think AI can do for me. And then start being obviously a little bit real about like comparison that, okay, for example, I am paying X amount of million pounds here. If I don't pay this, I move this investment here, will that give me ROI in the long term? And it should also be thought of like, not just like, oh, ROI is gonna come in like 1 month or 2 months. Maybe like have a plan of like in how much time do you think you can recover that money. For example, it's not like, in 1 month you're gonna get the entire ROI, right? Like it depends on like how big or small investment is in that. And I think like then obviously like that from that like then starts like your product building phase. So in that product building phase, you have to make, as I said, like a robust design which will cater to that investment that you are building. And from there you have to start like being like, okay, now I can see that there is a possibility that this AI will, let's say, save me 30% of my investment that I was doing in the process A versus process B. So I think like there is like a, it's like the thing is like ROI will come in at a point in time. So I think understanding whether ROI will come is also the key. It's not gonna be like in 1 week I'll get all the the value back, or maybe in 1 month. So that's the thing, and then identifying the right use case. So I think these are the 4 or 5 things which are super important when you are an organization trying to implement AI. And then, yeah, also like also having a great like the right team, because having the right people who are building the right architecture is important, because you would know, right? Like for example, if you're a data platform architect, right? If you design the right architecture, for example, you are catering to 5 different products, right? In some areas, the latency or the cost is more important. In some cases, real time streaming data is important, and you cannot have same thing or the other. You have to think about each and every section. So this is the same thing when we talk about AI, like your architecture, the design, and then like whatever investment you're gonna make in that entire product or an application you are building is really the key, to make sure what problem it will solve. So today you decide it's gonna be for sort of like a coding assistant for you, or some sort of like I don't know, like maybe assistant that will help you make uh DevOps tickets, or like for example Jira tickets or something. Then what's my current effort versus what's the effort now? Then what's the time I'm investing now? What's the time after implementing AI? How much money was going into this product before versus how much money do I plan to recover in 1 year, 3 years time? And this is how they should go about it, rather than like expecting that this will happen just in one go. And also it's an improvement process, like you have to keep on improving the application. A lot of times it's just sitting, it's built and it's there, but like large language models, they have to be monitored because sometimes they can change, they can hallucinate even after you have done everything well. So you have to keep on monitoring and tracing how they're performing. And then if you think that at some point there is something else you can do or make it better, because with context that you provide to the models, right? Like you have to expunge the old data out if you don't use it. Otherwise, it's gonna be challenging for somebody to like check every single aspect of that application. So I think there's so many parts of also building that product once you are entering that phase that the product team has to ensure to make sure that it performs in the way it is intended to perform. And that's basically where it starts generating ROI, because it's a whole cycle, I would say, from
Mm.
start to end.
Yeah, you say hallucination. Uh, I think for me, I see the model is getting better and better, but now we are also in a world of AI agents where one agent say the other agent do this and so on. So they a lot of, I'd say, specialists. I think that's uh, or experts. I think it's come from Mistral, the idea to build different experts. Um, but how monitor can we monitor the outcomes so that we have no bias or hallucinations in those systems?
So, like when we talk about hallucinations, right? Like, I know like the latest model that we have gotten from like different all the different AI companies. I would like I would say they are slightly better, but obviously it's still there. The hallucination is still there. Now, people use temperature settings. They have like different settings available that they can use to control the hallucinations. But I think I would say like when you test your application, there should be a baseline. What's the acceptable behavior for my application, and like what's the intended behavior. So if my agent is going to hallucinate and give me deviation, like for example with 5-10%, then I will probably say it's not ready for production, because I would not be able to accept that simply. So I think like when you build application, especially with hallucinations, there should be like different cases where you would have tested those hallucinations, how much you're getting those hallucinations for, then what's the baseline. If it's like, for example, confidence score, for example, confidence score of your hallucination is like slight deviation, which is probably would say like maybe like 0.0001 sort of, or like very small, which is not so much, which, and also the answer is correct. I think that's like one thing which you have to make sure you are checking every single time, and then like maybe test it a lot of times to see like what's the baseline you're gonna get, what's acceptable percentage. You can also create like confidence scores. For example, if my application every time gives me 90% above confidence, which I know is gonna be right, and then also automate some like checks in every step, like not like in the entire conversation, just in every turn, like every time it interacts. That's also I think very important. And then like if it falls below that baseline, then okay, now we need to see. So there should be like a process for that. So I think in that process you can make it semi automated, but then somebody will have to still check. There should be some human in the loop, especially if you're working for like industries which are very very sensitive, like for example healthcare. So you have to make sure somebody's checking those things constantly, because yeah, like your I would say uh like you cannot go wrong with like your outcomes. I'm like always like advocating for this, like you cannot go wrong with like what it creates. So we have to make sure that we're always checking those things step by step in every process. So build evaluations, check maybe like relevance, accuracy, how coherent the result is it having task adherence, which means like it does the task it's supposed to do. And then maybe give also some sort of feedback, like sort of a feedback loop, so that the LLM tries to improve itself, and like like also tries to find better ways to solve the same problem. Maybe look, if you have given a better prompt, it's structured properly. I think these things sort of like help to understand where the hallucination is happening from, and then how can we rectify it. It's not just about the settings, it's also about how you tackle the outcomes once you get it.
Mhm. I think now we see. I think every product now includes AI at home. My my vacuum, my coffee machine, all has now AI in it. And
Yeah.
last I've seen that's a new buzzword. I see a monitor, and this was with responsible AI. I don't know what it does, but responsible AI is it's yeah it's a new LinkedIn, it's everywhere. What does it actually mean in practice?
Responsible AI. Responsible AI basically like you are using like the AI applications in a way that in a way that it's actually fulfilling the task that you have assigned it to do. And if it at some point, like for example, initially when ChatGPT came, I know a lot of people just fed in data or gave it information because they thought like it will just take all the information and that's it. But you cannot put like any other data, random data into, applications because, those are large language models. So using AI effectively is always important to ensure that when you're getting a response, you so if you are a user, like for example, if I'm the user, right? Let's say I'm expecting a response. In some capacity, I would know that is this response right or wrong? I mean, how do people know that AI is giving wrong response if they're not the subject matter experts of that particular area, right? So understanding if I can rely on trust on this and on this outcome. So like if you are generating some content, for example, uh you're using it from brainstorming. Do you think that idea is going to be practical? And like for example, if you're asking or seeking information, are those links reliable? Are they the right links or that information is right? So I think I recently tested one of the example. Like I was trying to build one agent for like, just paying my council tax, right? And I was trying to see like how will it, like for example, take the data. So it gave me some made up website, in the start. And I was like, oh, this link doesn't lead me anywhere because that's not the right website even. And the information was incorrect. So measuring and comparing that this is the outcome I'm getting, this is the realistic outcome I should have been getting is making sure that you're responsibly using it. Especially like not just trusting whatever it's being given because even on those platforms it's written that it may generate incorrect responses on the bottom of that the bar where you give the prompt. So I think it starts with understanding that you have to like make sure you are checking everything before using it. And like even if it's not like sort of like a organizational application, if you're especially using for example chat gpt or any other AI tool available in the market, which basically are tons of them now. um and I think like with using a tool, for example, on your phone or day-to-day life or stuff. So if you're building, let's say you're planning a travel itinerary, right? That's I think one of the most common use cases I've heard people using it for. Like making sure that like it gives you the right option of the flight links and then checking those flight links are actually available. It basically starts from all those small steps, and then obviously like from enterprise level you all know that like we'll need more testing and more like evaluations and LLM as a judge, and making sure that all those things work hand in hand to make sure it's more responsible. And then like for example, if you're even if you're working in an organization, if you find that some point it's giving wrong answers, please share with other people as well so that they are more aware as well, because sometimes maybe you identified a use case and other people haven't come across that. So they will also be aware that, oh, like this could potentially happen. Like I could get a wrong outcome for this thing. So I think that starts with, sharing more knowledge. And then obviously, like, these, like we are having, for example, community meetups as well. So a lot of people come and share their projects and they share like things they've found. So I think also listening to other people and like, learning from them along the way also helps because, for example, they might have come across a use case which you haven't. So you would also know now, okay, maybe I will think about this next time when I'm building something new for me that I might come across the same scenario and I will try to sort of not fall in that space where I have to do the legwork to like, reinterpret it. So I think it starts with multiple practices to make sure that you are using AI responsibly.
Yeah. Um, uh, ab- Actually, a lot of companies are selling AI governance frameworks. There are a lot of it. Did company really need an AI governance framework, or it's okay to have IT and the data governance framework? What's your opinion here?
I think AI governance should in like in the grand scheme of things, AI governance should be like baked in since the beginning of the process. Because I think it's sometimes like we build the whole thing and then we think about governance, I would say. So I think it should be in the start, and it's actually one of the reasons for your AI being truly ready. Because like if you're like all the different processes that are important, for example, you work for a company which is super like sensitive, deals with sensitive data or legal data, for example, NDs and so on. So like it's super important that you have taken care of the governance because like it would be quite surprising if somebody's gonna go and use it, because like those kind of information and like you haven't taking care of the ethics and make sure that all the sensitive data is tackled properly. I think it's like a lot of importance there is on that. So I think you can use like you should make it a part of the architecture itself in the beginning of the process. It should not be an afterthought that we'll do it once we have built a product. It should be baked in the beginning of the process. And like I think like if you are a B2B or B2C company, without governance, I'm not sure if people will be like convinced to buy something because they have to pass the governance checks to ensure that the product is truly ready for being used by the people. So yeah, I think like it's super important. I mean, framework wise, like yeah, I mean, a lot of companies do sell governance frameworks. It depends on each organization if they actually use it. I mean, I would say like it's best to have it built in the start and to see like if actually that framework is gonna be worthwhile or like useful for your product or the company that you work for. Um, and like if you have, for example, your own internal governance teams, AI governance teams, for example, then they can support you in that process. So it depends. If you don't have internal governance teams who can support you, then you might seek external help. But it totally depends on one company to another. So I don't think one size would fit all. I think it depends from case to case basis. Because like smaller companies might not have a big governance team, so they might need external support to do that. But some companies do have a big governance team, so they can support them in those processes.
Yeah. What did you think about regulations? I think we have here also two teams. We have the people they say it's slowing the innovation, and the other saying it's enabling trust. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's some industries where it's important. I mean, it's sort of in a way also trying to ensure that whatever you are creating is reliable, as I said, like and trustworthy. So it's like two sides of the same coin, sort of. But I think like if your industry has this thing, where they have to pass all these criteria, then I think like you have to go through it. And it's better to be like, check all those things beforehand, like, and rather than like just putting something out. Like innovation is also good only when it's responsibly used and it's safe to use also. So I think there's two sides of the same coin, I would say. So yeah, I think some industries will definitely need to ensure that they pass all those barriers before they actually sort of reach a point where their product is truly ready to be used by consumers.
And yeah, this is awesome. And how important did you think it's actually is community in this AI area?
Oh, communities. I mean, there are lots. Now, I mean, communities are important. And I think it's important to hear also like what other people are bringing, like, for example, or building, because I think like collaboration and knowledge sharing is one of the best way to learn the new tech or any tech essentially. And I think like a lot of places I have attended like events or like I've learned a lot of things and the people I've created. And also like it also sparked my interest in the sense like you can discuss with those people what approaches they have followed. So it does create a platform for people to upskill. So, for example, somebody comes from core engineering, like software engineering, and then now they know about coding, they know how to build software architecture, SDLC, everything else, and so on. But maybe like they want to understand more about AI, which is more about like generative AI, like large language models, how they are built, how they process information. So now, like obviously there are a lot of courses online, but then like community meetups provide that sort of like a center spot where you can go. And I generally say to people like you don't have to go to like you have to pick those events where you can learn the most because every event has their different things. Like some events, like there's advanced AI, some places they are more like topics which are like sort of like in middle, like, and some they are like very early start. They have like topics which are very, so you pick which one you are really trying to learn, or maybe your job whichever you are in, where it is more relevant. And then you can go and attend those events and learn from them. And then ask questions because curiosity is something which is super important, especially in today's world. To learn and understand more, you should ask the questions if you have any confusion or doubt about something so that you learn along the way. So I think community meetings are definitely really, really important in my opinion because they provide that free space to, really be like learn from other people. And I think either you are an attendee or you speak or like you're an organizer, you will learn a lot because you will get different and diverse perspectives. And like if I'm a data scientist, I will come from a data science lens, or maybe somebody else who is a software engineer, they will come from a software engineering lens. And then somebody maybe is in analytics, they will come from analytics lens. Everyone is using different tools and it's gonna be everywhere. So it's nice to know what's happening. So for example, in analytics, we're seeing conversational AI being like one of the topics being discussed, or in software engineering, it's more like, oh hey, like now we can use AI to build code or like make coding assistant sort of. And if you are a data scientist, you would think, for example, oh, like I use ML ops. Now maybe I'm gonna use LLM ops. Or I use large language models to, do predictive modeling, how it can support there. Or if you're in finance or like marketing or sales, how can I use AI? For example, will AI be able to help me create reports, create campaigns, analyze my campaign data? So I think the different lenses. So it's good to know all the lenses and learn how people are using it. And if you have something to share, you should definitely go and share that information as well.
Shupagi, you also lead a community, the Women in Data London. Can you tell a little bit about this?
Yeah, so Women in Data, it's a non-profit organization and it started back in 2015 in the United States. And we have this chapter, which is now, I think, almost 900 members. So I've been a part of the community for a long time and I lead the chapter. I think I organized 35 or 40 events so far in the past few years for the community, and obviously it has grown by 40-50% now. So we have a lot of different women from various, walks of life, and we organize events, we help them mentor, like find roles, for example. And we have, I think, chapters in like 57 countries or something now. And obviously, this is one of the chapters, biggest chapters in Europe, that one we have right now in the UK. Yeah, it's a super collaborative, fun place to be. Like anyone can join. Like there's like anybody, like irrespective of if they are like women or not, and they can like be a part of the community. They can share their sessions. They can also mentor other people. We are also organizing a data-thon in like the next couple of months. So if somebody wants to build a team and participate, I'm sure there's gonna be some AI topic on that. I think the topic is what's cooking this time. So it's gonna be on some like data will be I think on cooking, but then you create your own thing. And there's bunny projects as well. So somebody wants to, team up with someone and build a project. There's like that option as well. So there's a lot of stuff it offers. And yeah, it's like it's non-profit. So yeah, you can just join it for free and like leverage the value of like what it offers.
And I think you have also another community. It's the Builders Foundry.
Yeah. So yeah, Builders Foundry I started this year. And we already have like 150 plus members. I mean, we only done I think 2 or 3 events this year because we wanted to like build high quality events. So we are building ones on one and the other. And one other I'm doing this with another MVP. So we are like doing and building this community together. It's mostly focused on software engineering, architecture, AI, and like startups, because startups, there's a lot more startups in London now than they were I think before, especially because of AI. So we are like looking for people who are like who want to share their real world expertise or knowledge. I mean, it's okay if something like didn't work, that also is fine. We just want to know like what's working, what's not working. And it's practitioner led community, so we are looking for people who are more like practitioners in their area. And so we did like I think the launch event back in April, and
Mm.
then we did one last month, and then we have one coming in September.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's just jump in the rapid fire round. You say the first thing that comes in your mind. So, coffee, tea, or energy drink during developed agents.
Okay, the third one, energy drinks.
Okay. Power BI or Excel.
Both.
Python or SQL.
Oh, that's just I think both because I use both of them. So
Prompt engineer or fine tuning.
I I mean it's case based. So can't pick one or the other, but like if I want to go for one, I might if it's simple, I will go for fine tuning. If it's not like a simple use case, I might go with the other one.
Yeah, your biggest productivity hack.
Focus.
Favorite Microsoft product.
Favorite Microsoft product. Oh, there are so many. I don't think I can choose one.
Uh, if Microsoft come to you and say you get all the money and resources you need, which feature will you develop?
Uh, I think like it probably will be on Foundry because I'm using it actively now. I will probably expand like the memory management feature like a lot more to offer a lot more capabilities. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, then I come to my closing questions. Closing question: what is yeah the the yeah the biggest misunderstanding people have about AI?
uh like AI, like that it can solve, like it can solve many problems, but like it's not like it can it needs to be in everything. Like it needs to, you have to identify the use case for it to solve the right problem for you. So it will only help you if you know where to use it effectively and also in the way you want to use it effectively.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So, for joining me today. I really enjoy this conversation because it shows up that successful AI isn't just a large language model or latest announcement. It's about combining trust data, responsible governance, solid engineering, and the right business mindset. So yeah, thank you for being here, and yeah, all the listeners, you find all the links in the show notes, so you can connect with Shupagi. And yeah, if you enjoy this episode, so please leave a review and tell us your colleagues. And yeah, thank you for listening, and thank you, Shupagi, for having you
Thank you.
here.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having me. Yeah, it was great chatting with you.
Yeah, goodbye, ciao.
Cheers. Bye.